We're ready.
Okay. Please bear with me. I printed out the agenda so I could read it, and it printed out so small, I have to have a magnifying glass to look at it. So, hold on. All right, I'd like to call the regular monthly village board meeting to order on Tuesday, July 21st at approximately 6 p.m. Would you please join me? I'm sorry, roll call, please.
Lino,
Here.
Baker,
Here.
Ertl,
Here.
Bell,
Here.
Kadunkel,
Here.
and Nino.
Here.
Duffy is excused.
Excused, okay. Would you please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of the minutes as published.
I will make that motion.
I will second. All right.
Any additions, deletions, comments, grammatical remarks, other comments?
Yes, I would like to add something on page 3.
Okay.
Somewhere in that first paragraph, lines 1 through 7, talking about additional funds have been made available for COVID-19 relief for municipalities. I'd like to add that it was $15,000 from the money that Governor Evers set aside.
Yes. Based on conversations at the county today, there may be additional monies. We'll find it out. I know the county was originally going to get about $200,000. That got upped to $473,000.
Wow.
So I think they're going back because he wasn't going to use all the funds. I think they're going back and evaluating the communities, and there may be additional dollars available. And so he's at the county level now, and he would be moving down to the municipalities, villages, and cities next. So that would be good. Any other changes? Okay, to approve the minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Comments, correspondence, and concerns from the public. Is there anybody in the audience online via Zoom or telephone that would like to make a comment on a non-agenda item?
Yes, David, I would like to.
Hi.
Hi. Am I good to just go?
Yes, you're all set. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to say good evening and thank you to the Village of Sister Bay Board for allowing me a few minutes to speak with you this evening. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ashley DeGrave and I am one of the candidates that's running for Door County Treasurer. I just wanted to take a few minutes to introduce myself. I grew up in Nassauapi and I'm married to my husband Travis, who grew up in the Brussels area. We both graduated from Southern Door High School, and we both reside in Forestville for the last 12 years. I continued my education after high school and received a degree in accounting. I have been a lifelong Girl Scout, and I earned my bronze, silver, and gold awards throughout my years. I am currently still involved in Girl Scouts as a troop leader, the cookie cupboard organizer, and as well as our treasurer for the Door County service area. And I'm also serving a 2-year delegate position with the Girl Scouts of the Northwestern Great Lakes Council, which is based out of Green Bay. I was hired to the county in the emergency services department where I spent 4 years getting exposure to the financial system, doing billings, accounts payable, receivable, and deposits. 2 years ago, I made the switch to the technology services department to take a position that allowed me to utilize my accounting degree on a more daily basis. I manage our budget, I reconcile large-scale capital improvement projects, I process our payables and our receivables, as well as many other daily tasks. I also manage software renewals for not only our department, but many departments throughout the whole county, which requires excellent record-keeping skills because of the dates that they're due, as well as making sure the right amounts are budgeted so that no department is going over budget. My employment prior to the county had a main focus on customer service as well as money management. All of these duties inside and outside of the county have helped me develop the skills, knowledge, and drive to be our next door county treasurer. Before deciding to run for the county treasurer position, I spent some time speaking with the management inside the county to learn about the roles and duties in the office. And if elected, I tend to be a full-time working county treasurer and will make sure that my time is spent utilizing the taxpayers' dollars to their full potential. As an elected official, and even as an employee of the county, we need to remember that we're here to serve the constituents, and I pledge to consistently be evaluating our procedures, policies, technology, and budgets to make sure that our taxpayers are being spent in the most efficient way possible. I'm committed to accountability and stability in the financial record keeping of the county and in the collection and processing of tax payments. As I'm sure you're all aware, because we're doing a Zoom meeting, the COVID situation has made campaigning and exposure opportunities quite a bit different and more difficult than in most elections. So I thank you guys for the opportunity to allow me to come in and speak on your public comment and get my information out there. And I look forward to an opportunity to serve this community.
Well, thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
guys
Good
have
luck.
a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else on public comment?
I would like to make a comment.
Sure.
Let me just find where I have it. I was on the internet the other day and came across the Door Hotel's website, and I was looking at it, and under their experience tab, they have small talk and small plates. And it says, from our on-the-go breakfast to some word I can't pronounce, plates, we offer unique eats for when you launch or land. Wetting your whistle is easy with our complimentary beverage at check-in, and between 3 and 9 p.m., service of beer and wine at the lobby bar. We also offer a do-it-yourself cocktail section equipped with mixers and glassware so you can craft your own cocktail with local spirits. As far as I know, the Door Hotel does not qualify for a liquor license or a beer license. So I was wondering if this could be checked into.
I think we'll have to put it on the list.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other public comment?
Dave, in response
Yes.
to Denise's comment, I believe that Heidi had said that Chris Schmeltz had contacted her about the possibility of getting a liquor license, but she told him that he couldn't submit the documentation now because there's not a habitable building yet. So I think that's going to be coming.
Okay, that's not what I told Heidi.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is not for the discussion now. This is simply a comment. So we'll put it on staff to dig into it.
Yep.
Any other comments? Okay. Correspondence. Does anybody want to add correspondence other than what is in the packet?
I have nothing else.
Okay. Does anybody want to review the correspondence that is in the packet? Okay. Item number 1, discussion regarding an update on the village's response to COVID-19. Consider a motion for action if necessary. So I'll start again today at the county. The mask issue, of course, is forefront at the moment. Today at the county, the administrative committee approved supporting and moving up to the county board for next week an emergency health advisory declaration, which will include masking, social distancing, the 3 or 4 other things that everybody's doing, sanitation, hand washing, etc. It is not a order, it's an advisory. The county will also be putting up 2 of the big digital highway signs that change. You know, they change, I think they have 4 different faces on them, and they change every 15 seconds. We will have one at the junction where 4257 comes up. There is a billboard there, and we will be taking 2 of the 4 placements on that, and it will say emergency health advisory in effect, mask up, and that will be running for a number of months. In addition to that, we're going to put regular billboards up also, reminding everybody that they should mask up and that there's an emergency advisory in place for that. There also will be, every Friday, there will be a half-page ad in the Pulse. That will change, but there'll be one in there this Friday. The next Friday, it'll show the advisory one, and that'll change periodically, and that will go for the next 3 or 4 months. In addition to that, there will be a number of hospital and health department releases that will go out during this period of time. So what we're trying to do, obviously, is put a new health advisory, emergency health advisory in place, and also pump up the public relations and the media PR to keep it forefront in people's minds. And hopefully, out of all the information that's out there, they'll read it or see it someplace, and hopefully comply with it. We went with an emergency advisory. That's one step below an order. If we need to go with an order, we will look at doing that. But the emergency advisory was done in Bayfield and Ashland counties, and it has been working out very well. It allows the businesses to use it as a tool to turn around and say, look, there's a health department public emergency advisory out requiring masks, and so they require masks. And the business people have really jumped on the emergency advisory issue, if you will. So that was approved today. The advisory will actually probably go out tomorrow, Wednesday. We hope to have the final draft done by about noon, and then I'll see it, and it'll go out Thursday at the latest, but we're trying to get it out tomorrow afternoon, and then be ratified the following week by the county board. And I'm sure additional mask questions will continue. Of note, there is some urgency to this now that the Surgeon General has come out very strongly saying, yes, everybody should be masking up. We need to wear masks. Even President Trump has said you need to be patriotic and wear masks, which is a big turnaround for him at the top. So hopefully the mask issue will continue to get more and more support. When we had the presentation from Brian Stevens today at the Admin Committee, CEO of the hospital, he went through some of the statistics as far as herd immunity and the number of people wearing masks. And right now they figure somewhere between 55 and 60% of people are wearing masks. They'd like to get that up to the 80% range. And if you can get it up to the 80% range, they feel that's what you need to buy the time to let the disease, if you will, infiltrate more slowly throughout the community to help build that herd immunity. So that's what I have as far as the county.
Good news, Dave.
So, we continue to move forward. There continues to be, new cases. I think there was 2 yesterday, which puts us up into the 70s. Again, it's no surprise to anybody that we will be having cases. They're just being very careful and watching if there's any spikes or outbreaks in particular areas or particular businesses. And so far, that's not occurring. Although our number of tests are increasing dramatically. I think as of yesterday, there was over 300 outstanding, which is about double what it has been over the last couple of weeks. According to the hospital, they have had a difficult time turning those around because they have to be sent out. That volume has to be sent out to private labs, and it can take 6 to 8 days. They're down to 24 to 48 hours, and I believe by August 1st or shortly thereafter, they're bringing in some new equipment and some new testing, and they hope to be able to do the majority of tests on site at the hospital with a 2-hour turnaround on the data or on the report as to whether it was positive or negative. They currently have in stock enough to do about 5,000 tests. So the number of tests and the supplies are available to do it. So that's not the issue. The issue at this point was with everybody spiking up across all the states when they started sending out the test to these private companies. It's first come, first serve. So if they're coming in from Texas, California, Florida, and all those places, they're ahead of us. And the tests are being sent both in and out of state, depending upon where the private companies are. But they are starting to catch up. To Chad's point the other day, there was this, he had a comment about it took so long, they ended up going down to Bellin or someplace else to get that turnaround. And the hospital recognizes that issue, and that's why they're bringing in the new equipment. And according to Brian, I think he said the first week of August, and they hope to do the majority of them then on site and give you results in 2 to 3 hours.
That'd be great.
Yeah, or overnight if they need, if there's a huge quantity and they need to run it to the lab, it'll take overnight to do it.
Overnight would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're working on that. The other thing that he talked about, which I thought was worthwhile noting, was they put mandatory masks in place at the hospital very early on in the process, back in April. And they wanted to do that. Of course, they are exposed to people with COVID all day long. They also put in place testing for anybody that was going to be admitted or needed surgical procedures. So they have to give them a test, and they have to be negative or positive before they can do anything surgery-wise for them. And that's what started them getting the fast turnaround test. But he said, they have over 300 employees that have been working for several months now, and they require masks everywhere. 2 people did get sick, did get COVID, but when they researched it, both those individuals did not get it at the hospital. They were able to track it back to off-site locations. They were off work, whatever they were doing, but that's where they got it from. So as a result of that, what he's saying is he has a 3 or 4 month track record of 300 plus people masking up, probably one of the situations where you have the most spread possible because of the number of people coming into the hospital getting tested and being treated, and they've had no transmission. And so he is an avid proponent of masks as a result, which only makes sense. I mean, it's a small study or small sample, but he's very confident that the wearing of the mask has helped them tremendously and keep their staff in place and not let anything start running rampant within the hospital. So that's all I got, unless you got questions for me from the county side of it.
Well, I'd just like to add to that. We have with them, we have our coworkers are very close. Now outside, we weren't requiring our bartenders outside to wear masks, but everywhere else, we have over 30 negatives. We have some outstanding. I don't even know if we have outstanding yet. We have people that need to get tested because they were instructed by county health not to get tested because they didn't have direct contact.
Yeah.
Me as a business owner wants more, so we're requiring them all. So that's why we have to drive them to Green Bay. They'll process them. The county won't allow it, so to speak. So we haven't had one positive test, just the one employee, which is great news. It means, and I don't know if we know where that employee got it yet. I haven't spoken with that person to figure out if they determined it. I don't think they have, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay. Let's go to Jay. Hi, Jay. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well.
Good. As of Monday, we put in the mandatory mask in the pig, and it's been running very smoothly. Only maybe had one run in, but all the rest of it has been running really good. Seems like everybody in our place is healthy and just we're tired and overdrawn, but that's going to be the rest of the summer. So food wise, we're getting stuff in slowly. We're still short of a lot of stuff in that, but it seems to be getting a little better. So otherwise, we got plenty of signs up. Everybody is pretty good. And actually, between Tom and Dan and I, Tom and Dan have been up quite a bit on the weekends working, and we really feel that, roughly about 90% of people did wear masks in the pig even before we put the mandate on having a mask. So we're pretty happy about that. So otherwise, we're running pretty smooth, and hopefully we can keep it up for the next 3-4 weeks.
Jay, one of the questions that came up was based on what happened at Chad's business was, if somebody became positive at your business, what would happen. And the concern was, would they have to close down the pig for a period of time? What kind of plan would be in place? Because obviously that's an important business to stay operating in case there's a problem.
We kind of have a plan, but until something really happens, you just don't know. We do. We have logs where we're taking every employee's temperature. And we haven't had to send anybody home because everybody's been good. We're going around every hour and washing handles and all that. We're trying to do the best we can there, but the biggest thing is once you wash a handle, then somebody comes and opens it. Well,
Right.
You don't know,
Right.
so you can't just stand there, and do it all the time. We did get some like floor cleaner and that, that is the fight against COVID. So, we have everything in place, and it just, if somebody would come down, I would probably look for some guidance from other people to see exactly what we would have to do in that.
I can weigh in a little bit, and again, don't quote, well, you can repeat this or quote me, but take it as non being a professional. But from what I learned, there was only like 4 or 5 of our staff that qualified as direct contact based on when that employee got symptoms and based on her work schedule. We went over and above. We didn't have to do any of that. We could have stayed open. We could have, just had those 4 or 5 people be tested and done it. So you won't have to, your employees are spaced out a lot more. It's a lot easier to control that narrative than it is maybe in our situation. But just from what I learned, there's nothing that required us to do what we did, and you wouldn't have to either. And you could easily keep contact of who's in contact with each other just because of the nature of your business. Some of them are going to be working close together, and maybe if one of them had it, those people would be down. But I think by and large, you could probably mitigate that at least to limp through, so to speak.
Yeah.
Just from one friend to another about what we went through, just a little tidbit for you.
Yeah. So all in all, we just, every morning you drive into work and you just pray and hope that everybody stays healthy. And every night you go home and you just pray and hope that your family stays healthy. So, and so far, knock on wood, we've been pretty good.
Any questions for Jay?
Good job, Jay.
Yep, good job, Mark. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks.
I see Chris has joined us. Chris, do you want to weigh in on any COVID stuff tonight?
First, I guess, sorry that I'm late to the meeting, and I'm kind of in a poor connection, so I don't know how well you're going to hear me or if I'm the buffer coming through. Certainly the cases are up. We have, on the EMS side, we've had contact with multiple patients within the village limits. I think what Chad was talking to, what I've always heard. Yep.
Can you back up and make that last 2 statements you cut out, just for the last couple of sentences?
So I'm going to shut the video. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll leave the video off. As the cases go up, I'll tell you that, from the fire and EMS first response standpoint, we've had multiple contacts in the last 10 days with COVID positive patients in the village that are staying here in their condos or their residence. Not really unexpected. And, I would think that we're going to see more of that. The crews, both from the fire department and the EMS standpoint, are run under the county protocols and are properly protected and are not considered to be significantly at risk and are not having to be tested after the fact because we're wearing the proper PPE. And then kind of dovetails into what Jay is doing at the store. If you take the proper precautions, your risk profile is significantly lowered. And to dovetail on what Chad is talking about, what I've always been told is significant contact that's 5 or more minutes for less than 6 feet I think that a lot of people, somebody that's a significant really qualify as, doesn't trip the alarm bells for contact. But, other than that, no, I don't have much to add. We continue doing what we're doing.
Okay. What is the status of the coalition?
So the coalition is in, the volunteers continue to do a lot of work. We have 2 volunteers when we can get them. We have 2 volunteers every day in the library in Sister Bay at the request of the library, Sister Bay Liberty Grove Library Board, I guess it would be. We have had a request now from Door County Medical Center, the hospital, to help them staff their COVID-19 testing facility. So that request came in. I don't know that we're going to be able to give them what they want, simply because people are a little leery to be that deep or that involved in direct contact. But public health has changed their, and again, I'm kind of paraphrasing what the hospital told me, but public health has changed their profile of who they want tested or who they're allowing to be tested. Tests coming through, and they're having trouble staffing their testing center. So they've asked the coalition to help staff that. So we're doing that. We continue to try to help Jay staff on Tuesdays and Fridays for grocery shopping for Scan. We're not overly successful with that, unfortunately. We continue to do medication deliveries for Scan. We continue to do Meals on Wheels for the ADRC in the north part or around Sister Bay and in the town of Liberty Grove. So the coalition continues to fill needed roles that are out there because of COVID. We do not have the 0911 helpline staff right now. I carry that phone and nobody's calling it, which is a good thing. I think, if we are asked or forced to go back into lockdown, then we will fire that arm of it back up.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Anybody
Does that
questions
answer your
for Chris?
questions?
Yes, it did. Yep. Any questions for Chris?
If someone's talking, Dave, I can't hear them.
Okay, no, I was waiting for somebody to respond. No response, so we're good. Thank you, Chris.
Good job, Chris.
Okay,
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Louise, are you on via phone?
Louise is in Chicago.
Yeah, she's not on.
She's not, okay.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm here. I can talk for a couple
Oh,
minutes.
I was just gonna say that
Sorry.
saved 20 minutes.
I was looking at the telephone number on the screen going, are you sure she's not on?
Hi, Louise.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
That's right.
So I really don't have a lot to add. I missed the first part of this, but I would say that the dining locations that we have closed inside, obviously know about Husby's, but the Bowl opened tonight, reopened inside. And then the others, I think, from what I can tell, will probably stay closed for a while to err on the more conservative side. So I think that's going to happen. Otherwise, I think a lot of people are just, there's a big concern about the service staff. And because, if it happens in one place, it's likely to happen in several others. So that's the concern. Excuse me, I'm out of breath. I just walked up some stairs. But that's really the concern is, what's going to happen with our staff. And so, but so far, so good. We'll see what happens. And, and they're able to cope with outside dining and able to, still do some business. But we have others where that's going to be very difficult. So I can't believe I'm out of breath. And so they are having a harder time, like Waterfront. They don't have outside dining. So they're going to try, they'll stay open as long as they can, and they're doing fine. Then we have, otherwise we've got Northern Grill, they're closed inside. Frickman decided to close. They had a couple of difficult, I don't know, just some difficult encounters with customers that just wasn't worth it with them. So I would say that in general, everybody's erring on the more conservative side. They've got some concerns about their staff, and they're waiting to see and make sure everything's okay. And then otherwise, lodging and dining, I think, are doing well. I mean, lodging is full on the weekends. We don't track weekdays. It seems like, judging from traffic in the village, weekdays are getting better. But we are full on weekends through the middle of August. I don't think that, I'd be really surprised. And I would say that's the case in most of the other communities. It's not just us.
Yep.
And then, you throw on top of that some day trippers and stuff. And again, the profile of our visitor continues to be younger. Not as many multi-generational families, so maybe the grandparents aren't with them as much. The weather's been in our favor. Retail is spotty. Some retail is good. Retailers are good, and some are down double digit. That is fairly inconsistent. But everybody's holding their own. I think that July will end up much better, at least from a lodging standpoint, and I think for dining as well, than anybody would have expected.
Okay. Any questions for Louise? You have a meeting coming up next week is it Fall Fest?
Yeah, we've got a Fall Fest through the Zoom on Monday, and we invited, I think close to 45 people between the village board and then our, the SBA board, and then also the stakeholders, which would be business owners, participants that, nonprofits, I should say, our staff. And so the intent of that meeting is just to lay out for everybody, like, what we would need to do right now to make it happen, beginning with requesting a detour from the state, and from there going to, and then laying out for everybody, what we would need to, what portion of the village property we would need to do arts and crafts and stuff. That won't take long. It's just pretty straightforward, simple stuff. And then I really feel like the balance of it is, and that's what my message in the invite was, to just hear feedback from those that are on the call, and it's they come on what they think we should do. I did invite people to email me if they couldn't attend. I've gotten 5 emails, and all 5 feel that we shouldn't have it. And it's not just, they gave some details on what and why and stuff. That's being, pretty cryptic, I guess, and pretty brief, but essentially why. And so that's where we are. I haven't had any other, I'll bring those as correspondence, and those folks are fine with my reading their responses. Egg Harbor decided against it. Was on that call. They had a Zoom call with their Board of Trustees last week and decided to cancel all of their festivals and events for the remainder of the year, with the exception of concerts. So they are still having concerts, and I think they're monitoring those from week to week. Since then, it seems like they may be reevaluating holidays that I don't know about, but that was the board's decision. And then subsequently, the following day, the Business Association had a meeting, that board approved it, and so forth. So when she posted that, my counterpart, Alyssa Rasmussen, posted that on Facebook, the response it wasn't bad. It wasn't normally, well, you can get some tough stuff. And I think then the toughest one was 4th of July, when 7 communities canceled fireworks and their parades and so forth. And so maybe people expected it, but a couple of the responses were, well, if Pumpkin Patch is canceled, then they're going to cancel Fall Fest. I'm getting the same amount of calls. I shouldn't say that. we're always getting calls about Fall Fest at this time of year, and usually it's when is it next year, and we're getting those calls again, and there people are asking also when is it in 2022. But the more of the calls I'm getting now is it going to happen? And we've monitored the fall festivals, Oktoberfest and so forth around the state, and all but 2 have been canceled. I'm still waiting. I'm monitoring the Glarus and Lake Geneva, and nothing's happened there yet. I've called them actually because they're not very good at keeping up on any platform they have, and they said they haven't made the decision yet. So that's where we are. Our greatest concern is for the nonprofits, and in particular the Lions Club.
So, Louise, this would be a good year to move it to Columbus Day weekend, right?
Well, it would. Well, it would, except in their wisdom, even though they didn't know it at the time. We've got businesses that do more business Columbus Day weekend than we do Fall Fest, so we kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm not sure that's the case Fall Festival weekend for Pumpkin Patch. I'm sorry, for Egg Harbor. It may be, but I do think we kind of you get the best of both worlds. Some people dread, Pumpkin Patch weekend almost as much as they dread sort of a love-hate for Fall Fest.
Yeah.
I don't know, but so nonetheless, that's where we are. I mean, I've had a lot of creative ideas of how to do it for the last 6 months, really. So that's it. I don't know.
Okay.
But we are happy, healthy, and right now we're starting a membership drive, and feel confident that should go fairly well. And happy we're having warm weather. Without warm weather, I tell you, we'd all be screwed. Honestly, the weather's been, it's really been with us. We've been, as much as we're concerned about all the crowds and stuff.
Well, it allows people to be outside.
Exactly. Well, I'm sorry. That's my point. Yeah, it's easy, and it's much easier for our dining folks because if they can't, it gives them all that extra real estate. If it's raining, it's not so great.
Okay. Any questions for Louise?
No, she covers all the bases as usual. Good job, Louise.
Okay.
I feel sorry for New Glarus and for Lake Geneva to hear from you every day until they make a decision.
Well, I don't call every day. I call every other. One of the girls knows who I am.
Every other.
All right.
Hi, Louise. How are you? Good, thanks. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else that I'm not seeing that wants to talk about COVID?
I just want to say 2 things, Dave.
Sure.
Birdos went to mandatory mask last Wednesday. And I would say that we have had about 99% compliance. And the couple of people that come in that don't have a mask, we are selling them for $1. They buy one. We have not really had any issues with irate people. I did encounter one who was a local, but he's kind of a pain in the butt anyway, so he just left in a huff. But other than that, it's going well for us. A couple people have asked, is this countywide or statewide? And I said, no, it was our decision. And so I thought that was an interesting question. And so I'm happy because I've really heard horror stories in other states and places about the nightmares that clerks have to go through with irate people. And then secondly, I don't know if everybody knows, but Wisconsin hit a not great milestone today, and our cases for the first time were over 1,000. We're at 1,117 today.
Climbing too rapidly. Along with talking about masks, Louise, did you get the copy of the email from Pam Seiler and the study that was done on traveling and masks?
Sorry, hold on. I muted her.
Okay.
Louise, can you hear us? She may not be on.
I'm sorry. You know what? I muted myself on my phone because I just didn't want to bother you guys. I did, Dave. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Off the top of your head, can you share any of that?
I don't have it in front of me, but basically, people, the study essentially said that travelers are willing to, and many of them welcome it, essentially.
Yep.
And there's a sense of safety around it.
Yes, and there was also, wasn't there something in there that they felt most comfortable when they went into places and they saw staff having their mask on?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, without a doubt, yeah. And the one thing I will say about Sister Bay, which is, I think, consistent every single place, Maluska and I went to every single business on between Friday and Saturday, and we don't have one single business in the downtown area, and I would say, I don't know, we were probably at least, I mean, of course, the Pig, and let's see, and even when we go uptown, whether I'm at Bayshore or whether I'm at Silver Birch or whether I'm at Culinary, right, every single one of them has, mandatory mask sign there, every one of them. And I was in 2 of them where they asked people to leave because they didn't have a mask, and it went okay. They didn't. I mean, they were, the way that they handled it was that, can we give you a mask because we're requiring masks in the village or in our business. They've been really consistent. Honestly, very consistent in all of them, and all of them have signage.
Yeah, that's great.
I think so. I mean, absolutely. I mean, even analog, you can't order because they're all takeout. You can't order without a mask.
Okay. So would you be able to forward that to Janelle or Bo so they could send it out to all of us? Okay.
Yep, I'll do that now. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you.
I'll pass it along.
Sure.
Okay. Anybody else on COVID-19? Okay. We will move to our next item. Discussion regarding potential extension of Village of Sister Bay's declaration of public health emergency. Consider a motion for action if appropriate. I think we need to extend it again another 30 days.
I'll make the motion to extend it.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
No question at all.
Item number 3, discussion regarding recommendation of the Plan Commission that the Village Board approve the development agreement between the Village of Sister Bay and Tim Hallbrook of Tim Hallbrook Builders, Inc., which agreement pertains to the construction of 24-unit apartment complex consisting of 3 apartment buildings and garages on parcel 181-007 and is located off of Ava Hope Court. Consider a motion for action if appropriate.
Yep, so I didn't throw in a board report here. This had gone to Plan Commission and gotten approval for the development. It's 3 additional apartment units, very similar in style and layout as to what you see at Stony Ridge right now. There'll be a different color, and there will be a lot of landscaping on the Highway 57 side, so it should be a nice addition down there.
Okay.
The one thing when the Plan Commission reviewed that development agreement, if you go to page 39 of your packets, Tim Hallbrook has requested that the amendments that are shown on Exhibit C be made, and there's kind of explanations for them. The main reason, if you check the minutes from the Plan Commission that he requested those revisions, is that the type of insurance that we normally require is very expensive. He also said that in any of the other communities he works in, it's not required.
I looked at that also. That's pretty standard. What he asked, that's not a big ask for him. It still covers what he needs to. It's nothing outrageous.
I had a question, and perhaps this is something that Plan Commission is putting in all the developments now, but I don't remember discussing it. In there's the section about the noise and decibel levels that pertains to concerts and music. Is that something that we're putting in all development agreements now, regardless of what the agreement is?
Yes, it's just part of the template, Dave.
Okay.
I know it sometimes it seems ridiculous, but yes.
Okay, that's fine. All right. That's the only question I had.
So I guess the question is, do you guys have any objections if we make the amendments that Tim requested to the insurance requirements?
I don't, but
Yeah,
I don't know if this is relevant for maybe a bigger project to have a bigger number. But I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah. I have none.
I have none.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So
I'll make
moved,
the motion.
Dave.
Right.
I'll second.
All right. Thank you. If there's no other discussion, all in favor of the development
Aye.
agreement? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Carried. Thank you. Discussion regarding recommendations from the Parks, Property, and Streets Committee that the Village Board pass and adopt ordinance 273-072120, which prohibits the removal or disturbance of beach stones, rocks, or pebbles from Pebble Beach. Consider a motion for action if appropriate.
Yep. So once again, I didn't think there was a need to add a report on this one. This one is a pretty simple ordinance that was kind of copied over from Washington Island Schoolhouse Beach. It's just a simple ordinance that will result in a $300 fine if someone is caught stealing the pebbles there. We do have temporary signage out there per Parks request, but our Parks team has contacted the county to get more permanent signage and rather larger signage to be out there and to be posted right in the right of way.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Luis, I'm still looking to do that video.
I swear to God, we're putting it together. I know. Don't worry. I know you just want to be the star, which is
Oh,
fine
yeah.
with me.
No, I'm not afraid to get caught on camera like that. That's I'm
You
fine.
can make that
Where
happen.
are you gonna hide the rocks in your Speedo?
Nice, Chad. I don't think we
And
thought
that's
of
what
that.
put them all together,
No.
Chad.
Okay.
Okay. The next two items I am going to recuse myself on because I am currently the agent for this. So I would ask Denise if she would take over for item 5 and 6.
Okay. Bo, can you read the agenda item, please? Because
I
I'm
can do
way
that.
down in the packet.
Yep. Agenda item number 5, discussion on a request from Mobile One LLC for change of agent. Consider a motion for action if appropriate.
Thank you. Heidi, would you like to comment?
Anna had been talking to me for some time about becoming agent for the business now that she and her husband have met the residency requirements and they have gotten their Wisconsin driver's licenses. So that's simply all that was.
Does anybody have any issues?
No.
I have none.
Here to make a motion to
I'll make the
approve?
motion I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Kadanko, second by Baker. Any further discussion? All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Okay. Agenda item number 6, discussion on a request from Mobile One LLC for the issuance of a Class A liquor license for the premises located at 2579 South Bay Shore Drive. Consider a motion for action if appropriate.
Bo, I'm sorry, did you say Class C license or Class A license?
It's a Class A liquor license.
Yep, that's the right one.
So this is something new. I remember in the past, in the early years, I think Dave sold liquor and then at some point in time decided not to. So they're reintroducing it to their business. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Berto, second by Kadanko. Any other discussion? All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Okay. Item number 7.
Wait. Okay, I got it both. Thanks, Denise. Appreciate it. Okay. Discussion on a request from Wisconsin Blee Holdings LLC for the issuance of a combined Class A retail liquor license for the premises located at 10678 North Bay Shore Drive, Unit 1, and the appointment of John Casanova as agent for said business. Consider a motion for action if appropriate.
Now, Heidi did send out an amendment, is that correct?
For the next agenda
For
item.
the next item, okay. All right, because I had quite a bit of concern, had talked to Dave about this the other night, where the village would approve an agent and a place of business to sell alcoholic beverages. But at the time, when this board agenda went out, there was no operator license for an employee. So that meant that Mr. Casanova had to be there all the hours that it was open because he was the only one that would be allowed to sell it. Heidi did get in touch with the manager. Her name is Christy. And so he does have an employee now. But she has not completed the course yet. Is that correct, Heidi?
No, she took the course back in February.
She did.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So she is compliant. Okay. The only other question, now that has been addressed, is they're talking about selling on the patio. And do we have Mr. Casanova or Christy on the phone?
Does not look like it, no.
So I'm questioning, what does that mean?
So
I had the same question, yeah.
Wouldn't this be a change of use for that building from retail to restaurant if you're going to be selling draft beer or beer that you open and?
Well, under this license, they couldn't do that.
It's packaged what they're asking for, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Right, carry out,
Yeah.
off premises.
Off premise, yeah.
That's why I questioned the patio being on there.
I think that's for their Fall Fest request, when they extend their license for their outdoor service area. I'll have to clarify that with John, but I suspect that was the reason that was included.
If that is the reason, and if Dave and I are both questioning it, I would ask that we specify that then in the motion if it is approved.
Well, I do have a question. If Fall Fest rolls around and I decide I want to sell scarves because Yenny's selling a hell of a lot of scarves, isn't that kind of the same thing? You're a retail store. Now you want to sell beer during a festival when us professionals, do this. I have an issue with that. Now, if they're a cafe and a restaurant and they sell beer and wine every single day and they're a food business, I get it completely. But to try to capitalize off a day or a weekend when you're a retail shop, to me, that's a different business.
I'll have to clarify for you on that one.
But in the past, that has been allowed. It's been operated through SBA. They get, was it the picnic license or whatever they get for that 2 days or 3 days, whatever it is. And Louise can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think anybody that was down there could do that if they wanted to.
Well, no, there's a stipulation. They have to give a portion of their profits, of their gross, to a nonprofit.
Right.
And we have to approve that nonprofit.
And that was only, yeah. Well, it was for nonprofits, and they allowed it for food service to attract some food vendors.
Right. I've never given one for anybody selling. That's not true. No, at Peninsula, the Peninsula Preschool, they get one. Well, they are a nonprofit, and they do sell beer. But I've never, this would be 4 years, so I've never had this instance where somebody would come and do this that was, not a nonprofit. So, for instance, Nick the cheese curd guy, the only way he's allowed to come, grandfathered before I arrived, and does not serve beer or wine, is if he gives a portion of his gross to we turn it to a nonprofit of our choice, last year it's historical day, but nonetheless, I don't think I have an instance where this would have occurred. No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So
not requested. No.
Yeah. So if an individual like that business came for Fall Fest, you would go through and make sure, because they would request a picnic license through you, correct? And you would have to give
Correct.
them permission to do that. So you would be asking those questions, and that's how you would know.
Yep, and we would designate the nonprofit. First of all, they have to be a member. These folks are not members. I'm assuming they would join so they could do it, but they're not members, and they're brand new, and of course they're not members, and I get all that. But they would have to be members, and then we would have to talk to them. We just never run into it before because we've never had a retailer who want to serve beer and wine.
Okay.
Does anybody know what their hours of operation are?
Currently, they are 9 in the morning until 7 at night. But I did go over, and I think it was John that I met a few days after they opened, introduced myself and so forth. And he was struggling a little bit with staff. Now it seems he's found at least Christy and maybe one other person. And that may be driven by staff at this point. But right now, if I were to go to the website, and on their Facebook page, they featured Sister Bay a number of times. And there's a lot of photographs of Sister Bay. So I believe it's 9 to 7.
So either Christy is working 10-hour days, 7 days a week, or we need to make sure.
Denise, I don't know how many days a week they're open.
Okay.
I mean, certainly I can look, but so, a lot of people unfortunately, they don't put their days of the week and hours on their Facebook page, which they should, by the way. But nonetheless, we could find out. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying as a village, just to make sure that everything is licensed properly, if Christy's working a 70-hour week, 7 days a week, or if they have another employee, that we need to make sure that that other employee then is licensed.
I have their hours are on Google right now. They're 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then 9 to 7 Friday through Monday.
And I did speak with Christy. She knows that other employees do need to get that license, and she has forms to give them once they're hired.
So it sounds like their intention is to hire additional employees.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
As far as I know, I think Dan Murphy's son was working there for a bit, but I don't know if he still is.
Okay.
I think if they want to be a bar or a cafe, they need to be a bar or cafe. If they want to be a retail store, they're a retail store. I mean, if they want to sell packaged goods, fine. But if they want to sell beer on their deck, that's a different business.
You can approve the license request without that part of the description. I can take it off the license.
We could take that off of the license.
I'm in favor of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
And then I can clarify with John as regards to what he was referring to with the deck, and then I can let everyone know.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion
Second.
As corrected
as corrected.
or amended, whatever? Okay.
Can I read it back to you? Would that be okay? Okay. That the village board formally appoints John Casanova to serve as the designated agent for Drink Responsibly Holdings LLC, doing business as Drink Responsibly, which business is located at 10678 North Bayshore Drive, and also authorizes the village clerk to see that a Class A beer license and a Class B beer license is issued for that license, but the license shall not state that the patio is an approved location.
Did you say beer twice?
It's Class A beer. Oh yeah, that's wrong. Sorry. That's what it's, it's a Class A liquor. Sorry. Okay, I'll fix that.
Okay. So Heidi, what's the difference in the Class A, Class B beer?
Class B is for on-premise consumption. Class A is for off-premise consumption.
Okay, so is he asking for on-premise consumption of beer?
No.
No.
Class A is beer and liquor will be off-premise.
They're both Class A, okay.
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion?
Yeah, the application shows that he is asking for Class A beer and Class B liquor.
Yeah, that's what I thought. There was a B in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Is there maybe a mistake made, Heidi?
I don't have it in front of me here at home, so it's possible. But what he needs is the Class A, and that's what he paid for.
Yeah, he's only looking for the Class A. That's probably just a typo.
Okay.
Okay, so they're both Class A, okay.
Well, before we accept a typo from
Yes.
said person for said associations, I think it should be very clear.
Well, you guys are only approving for Class A.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Consider a motion to approve operator's license requests for various individuals and businesses in the village. I'll make that motion.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, these are all the requests that came in past the June 30th deadline, so sorry you have to look at this again.
It's all right.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Report on county activities from county supervisor. I think we covered that. The admin committee meeting was today, all the COVID. The next board meeting is next Tuesday. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Report by the village administrator on village activities and projects.
Yeah, I'll keep this short. Pebble Beach, just as we talked about, we've added signage about stealing rocks. I'm going to look into adding security. I had a meeting with someone yesterday about the Marina security system that we're looking into that we had budgeted for 2020. It sounds like in the next few weeks we'll have that installed and finalized, but while I had the person here, I had them discussing about Pebble Beach as well, because I know that that was an issue. Another thing to discuss, the construction downtown. I know there's been a number of questions since we did extend that build moratorium. Both Al Johnson's and the Door Hotel have been working rapidly and are just about to finish up all the exterior work that they needed to get done. That would have been, that limit that they're allowed. So they should be starting to work inside in the next coming weeks. It looks like they have windows up and roofs completed. So the noise should be going down a little bit during the week. Just a quick staffing update for in the COVID situation. I have asked that the staff in our office start to come back full-time instead of doing the rotations. And obviously I'm going to keep my eye on that. If, positive cases continue to rise in Sister Bay and I feel like it's a concern in our office, we will go back to staggered shift changing. But for right now, I think it's okay. We do have our office closed to the public, and it's accessible by appointment only, in which people are required to wear masks, as well as staff wearing masks. We're going to continue to operate in that manner. I have heard no change or concern from both parks and utilities in regards to the PPE gear that we've given them. So that seems to be going well. And then lastly, and I already have kind of talked about this, Marina, I did have the meeting to discuss and install some security cameras there for our insurance purposes. So that's about it right now.
Any questions for Bo on his report? Review of the financial statements and consideration of a motion to approve the monthly bills.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Any questions? Areas of concern? Any comments, Tasha? You've been quiet tonight.
One quick comment. We did apply for the grant from the state. We applied for about $8,600 right now. We'll have another opportunity to apply in September. So I just wanted you to know that we are working on that. And we also received the grant money for the elections of $1,093 from the state. Then we have to report. And if we don't meet $1,093, we have to give it back. So just wanted to let everybody know that we are keeping on top of all that.
Is that for COVID, Tasha?
Yes.
What was the grant application for that was submitted to the state, Tasha?
For COVID-19, it's the CARES grant.
There's
Okay.
Okay, good. Any other questions? If not, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Committee reports. Admin has not met. Admin and Comp has not met. Technology has not met. Coastal Byways.
Has met. The Wisconsin DOT Scenic Byway renewal for 10 years is in the process. They thanked Janelle for being on top of it and said, I didn't have to worry. The application's been sent in for All American Road and National Scenic Byway, and we'll find out in September. They're looking to utilize all of the research that was done for those applications on the Door County Coastal Byway website. And at the next meeting, we will decide how to celebrate assumed approval and either do, or ribbon cutting and like a caravan through to see the All-American Road or the National Scenic Byway. So that's what they're doing, exploring possibility of applying for a GEM grant for media promotion, and they wanted to thank the Village of Sister Bay for making the contribution in a timely manner. That's it.
Great. Any questions about Coastal Byways? DCECD.
I was not able to attend. Oh,
I was there. Really nothing new to report. They're just still contacting businesses in regards to COVID and trying to assist in any way that they can.
Are you meeting in person?
No, it's all on Zoom. I don't leave my office, Denise, unless it's of urgent need.
Okay.
Okay. Economic Development has not met. Finance has not met. Fire.
Minutes in the packet of a February meeting. Does anybody have any questions I can try and answer?
The question I have is, and maybe this isn't the place for the discussion, but the new split arrangement that's being talked about?
There were questions about if that was still accurate, the way it was drawn up. And so Chris and Lou got together and looked at all the possible situations where these numbers might change. And they looked at 5 or 6, and they all varied by less than a percentage point. And it was just minor. So we left it that every 5 to 10 years we would observe to see if those numbers changed dramatically one way or the other. As the 1/3, 2/3 split.
Okay. So at this moment in time, there's not a change.
No change.
Okay. Chris, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just real quick, if I could. We were kind of interrupted on that by COVID-19. We had done a presentation to the fire board. Bo was there, Tasha was there, where we kind of reviewed a whole bunch of different things as far as how the split, the history of the split, where it had gone, where it had been before. And it really kind of cemented the fact that the 1/3, 2/3 that we're in now is pretty accurate. And that the way we wanted to track it going forward was we had set up some metrics that we could continue to look for changes. You know, and we even projected forward. I think Tasha had said that potentially the village was looking at a $50 million roughly increase in their evaluation. So we plugged that number in, and it really made very, very little difference overall, because the numbers, the evaluations of the town and the village are so large that even $50 million into it, and the way we had divided it, really didn't make a lot of difference in the 1/3, 2/3. And then the plan was to present all of this to the village and the town, either separately or jointly, but that was all interrupted by COVID.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Fire District Exploratory has not met.
Has not met.
Historical Society.
I was not able to attend that meeting, Dave.
Okay. Holiday lighting has not met. Library.
Oh, yes. Um, okay, so just an update on the June statistics. They had 504 curbside orders. June checkouts was 1,160, and for comparison, Sturgeon Bay had 1,498. Wi-Fi were third in the northeastern Wisconsin, behind Appleton and Bailey's Harbor. With 689 unique devices in June and averaging 52 a day. They have been open, and so they're open the same hours, the 32 hours a week. Masks are required. From 2 to 4 on Wednesdays is people at risk, high risk. They still are doing the call-in for curbside pickup for people who are more comfortable with that. Masks are required. Hand sanitizer is available. There's a limit of 10 patrons in at a time. You'd heard about are helping to control the number, and share the protocols so that people understand what they can do. There's a name tag system. For browsing, you're allowed 30 minutes. If you're working with the computers and the printer, you're allowed 1 hour. Still practicing the social distancing. Any money, any returned books, any browsed books are quarantined for 72 hours. Replace an air conditioner and the furnace. There's a furnace on order that will be installed when the people are done installing everybody else's and repairing everybody else's air conditioners. So that's what's going on at the library.
Can you tell us about the request for additional funds to hire additional personnel?
Okay. So there's an issue brought up with the number of people that were asking to volunteer to help with the door. It's called the door volunteer, to monitor that. And the Library Commission felt that rather than rely on volunteers solely, with the number of volunteers probably would dwindle when school opened or started, either way, that they felt they needed to hire 1 or 2 people to have someone that they could more reliable than a volunteer, and just for the continuity, to have someone hired for that. So Lou from Liberty Grove and I were asked to take it to our boards. I can tell you that the Liberty Grove board met last week, and the week actually before this all came about, we were reminded, Lou also reminded the commission that the commission was created to, and this is on page 89 in your packet. It's actually in one of the minutes from one of the meetings on June 30th. Created to own and operate a branch library facility and to pay obligations of the facility, propose budgets, and enforce the obligation of contributions. So the issue that came up in Liberty Grove is that we've blurred those lines of what the village and the town are responsible for and what the county is responsible for. We originally we're only responsible for the building, actually. And yet here we're asking for, the money to hire somebody. They can't add hours. The people that are there that are hired are already at like a max before they increase their benefits or kick in benefits. I'm not quite sure what that is. So there's an issue that you can't just add hours to the people that are already working there. And then two, it was one thing, I know you added to the contribution each year to open on Thursdays, but that was a request from the village and the town, where in this case, what's happened is the county has basically ordered the library to be open under these conditions. So they're the ones who are giving them the responsibilities, but they're not giving them any extra funding to cover those added responsibilities. They're not even giving them guidelines into how to meet those responsibilities. So I can tell you that Liberty Grove did not approve the funding. It's not dead, but they didn't looking for more information, which seemed reasonable to me too. That at this point we don't know. We're asking for more of a comparison between Sturgeon Bay and Sister Bay Liberty Grove libraries. Our usage is almost up to the Sturgeon Bay Library level, and yet we're wondering how much the staffing differs. We're guessing they have a whole lot more staff. I mean, just from having been in there. So we're wondering why this library is being asked to, take on all these added responsibilities with the COVID requirements, and yet not being given anything to help meet those responsibilities.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
The dollars that are being asked for, it was 5,000 from Liberty Grove, 5,000 for Sister Bay. Is that to be temporary? So when this situation is alleviated, that position no longer exists?
That was one of Liberty Grove's issues, that it is open-ended at this point. We don't know how long the COVID issue is going to add those responsibilities. The other thing is there is some money, because during the COVID shutdown, obviously they weren't open on Thursdays. So that extra funding that was sent or that was budgeted for the Thursday openings is available at least for a while, and they're trying to figure out how long. That's another thing.
I would also think
Lou
that
was going to look into how
I would also
long.
think that funding like this, if you're saying that it's due to COVID requirements, the additional time, that it also might be reimbursable through the CARES Act. And that's just a comment. The other thing is, I do know sometimes it's difficult to compare the branch libraries with Sturgeon Bay. The library agreement with Sturgeon Bay and the county is very different than the other branches are.
Correct. Yeah.
So you will have a significant difference in staffing just based on the agreement that they're operating there. And also, don't forget that the Miller Art Center is attached, and that also is issues with staffing.
Okay.
So
I just want to make a quick comment. This is unlikely to be reimbursed by the CARES Act. Based on how I read the essential personnel, the library personnel don't qualify as essential. That's pretty much very limited to emergency and healthcare workers.
Okay.
Okay.
I do know there's also some other programs that will do some potential reimbursement outside of the quote the CARES Act. And I know that Steve Wolford, the finance guy at the county, is looking into some of those other programs. And I think once he gets the information, he will also push it out to the municipalities so they know what to account for or help for the account. So that was the discussion item last week. So.
Dave, when
Yes.
you were talking about the agreement that Sturgeon Bay has with the county is very different than what Sister Bay has. Can we get a copy of that? Do we need to renegotiate? Is there anything that we can do, not pertaining to this particular issue, but with the numbers that the village has or whatever? I mean, is this a conversation that we could have in the future with the county when they are going through their budget, just in general?
You could. That will start up actually fairly soon, budget things. But I know, I'll give you one instance where the Sturgeon Bay and Door County Library agreement is different. Sturgeon Bay and Door County split everything, including the building and the labor side of things, 50-50. And unlike Sister Bay, Liberty Grove, where we're just responsible for the building and the county is responsible for on the labor side. The other thing is there's also the oversight is different than it is between Liberty Grove, Sister Bay, and the county because of the Miller Art Museum. And they've also been folding in the archives for the museum and for the library. They've been building additional buildings. The Yonkers building was purchased for archive purposes, and some of that money comes out of the city, and some of that money comes out of the county. So I mean, it's a much bigger project list that is involved at the Sturgeon Bay Library. So it's not just simply looking at the contract saying, oh, it's 50-50. It's not quite like that because of the capital issues. So Sturgeon Bay is also involved in paying some of the capital. For instance, when the county purchased the Prangies building, some of that will ultimately end up being paid by Sturgeon Bay because of the archiving for both the museum and the library. They're trying to combine archives of library and museum. I mean, it's pretty, and they're right in the middle of doing all this again, and they will probably end up redoing the agreement as a result. But
okay,
I can't say too much more,
good.
okay, because there's too much going on about it, right?
Sure. So how about we get a copy, or we dig out our copy of that agreement and have, you know, the library committee look over it and make some suggestions to the village board, so then we can talk to the county as they're going through their budgets.
Sure.
I've already said this to Dave, but I'll now ask the rest of the board 2 comments. One is, I know that we added Thursdays. And is there a possibility that we drop one day? And would that help out on the volunteering and the staffing at all? Because I know that the money is tight. I realize that the village is getting some money. Currently it's 15,000. You know, the county was over 200. Now, Dave, you said tonight that it'll probably be over 400,000. I don't know if it's going to go up for the village, but even if it doubles for the village, $30,000 to us is a whole lot of money. So I would, either ask investigating dropping a day, maybe Monday, so that we're consistently open Tuesday through Saturday, instead of, dropping the Thursday and you're open for a few days, then you're closed one, and then you're open for 2. That would be one suggestion. And then asking the county out of the CARES Act, out of their 400,000, if they'd be willing to foot this bill.
Very interesting.
Okay, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep, I agree. So the thing to do would have the library board contact the county, talk about the budget issue. I can speak to Ken about the CARES dollars involved, and I'm sure he'll come back through Tina, back through the library for the answer. But so I will do that. I'll put that on my list. Okay.
Do you want us to obtain a copy of that library operating agreement, Dave, or will you talk to the county people about that?
No, you should request that.
Okay.
I will just talk to Ken Povic about the CARES Act.
Okay.
And potential reimbursement.
Do you want the original operating agreement or the one that's in effect now?
Well,
Because I
the
think
one that's in effect now, if there was an original one before that's no longer in effect, What does that do?
Okay, because I think they renew it every few years, don't they?
Yes.
So I'll ask them for the most recent one.
Yes. Okay.
And then also, I have requested to Dave and Bo to figure out, both of these library meetings were held in person, granted with social distancing and with masks. I think that is a horrible idea, and for their next meeting, something else be worked out.
And of course, the issue is they probably don't have the equipment to do the Zoom side of meetings. So we'd have to figure it. But I agree. They probably should not be holding in-person meetings.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if you think about Marge Grutzmacher has one because she's on Plan Commission. Lou Cavazos has one. I can't remember who else. So Vivian has one.
Yes.
Who else is there? Frank Forkert?
Forkert's on there.
But he can do phone, right?
And Martha.
So I
Well-
think there's a way that you would be able to get everybody in, or the majority of them on a Zoom meeting, and then maybe one or two people are just in on a phone call.
Yeah, I don't think we should be meeting in person right now.
Yep.
I'd be surprised if there's somebody out there that hasn't been on a Zoom meeting in the last 6 months.
And like Denise said, as long as one or two people have ability to access Zoom, that everyone else can call in.
Yep. Okay. So, who do we approach with that?
I'll get that done.
Okay. All right, Marina and Marina Fest. Are we having a Marina Fest or don't we know yet?
We
We are
don't
not.
meeting on the 30th.
Yeah,
Chris
we're meeting.
and I. Yeah. Unless
But
Chris
it's already been called.
would like to make.
It's what?
It's already been decided that there will be no Marina Fest.
That is correct. Marina Fest has not been officially canceled, but our meeting is the end of the month. But we have all, we straw polled everybody and we all agree that it should be canceled. All of the vendors, all of the bands have already been notified.
Okay, all right,
The official one hasn't been put out yet.
okay,
But officially, the meeting will take place the end of the month.
okay, got it, thank you. Okay, Marina? Pat's not here, okay. Parks. Packet should be in there. Personnel. Bo, do you want to add anything about new employees?
Yeah, I was going to bring this up. We did receive an accepted offer from a new DPW director. His name is Ryan St. John, and he is coming from Hortonville, Wisconsin.
And when will he be starting?
He will be starting August 17th.
Okay.
He's going to be assisting Hortonville in their transition as well during that time.
And our last conversation, is he going to be on premise how often?
4 days. He is
Thank
going
you.
to be here Monday, Tuesday, and then working remotely on Wednesday, and then he will be back here Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
Plan Commission. We saw that, results of that. SBAA.
The minutes are in the packet from July 9th, and we haven't met other than that. I don't think there was anything major. No. No. Have the meeting next week with the shareholders on Fall Fest. And then have another meeting, I think a week and a half after that, to actually make the decision.
Okay. Thank you. Tourism zone.
That was a lot of information.
Oh, the auditor's report?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Other than that, we have not met. So it's what you get.
Okay. Utilities.
Have not met. Bo, how, everything going all right with the construction?
Everything's going well. There was a change order, just so that everyone's aware of the plans that they were looking at when they started knocking down some walls to take a look at. There was just a few minor changes that just showed that we weren't using the most updated or corrected map, that some things have changed. Nothing outrageous, though. It's all been handled. They are continuing to work. Progress is going out there. If you've taken a look out there, the walls are starting to go up on that garage side, so that's good.
Okay. Youth Center has not met. Ad hoc ice rink has not met.
Yeah, they did.
When?
Or there were minutes.
I thought it was coming up.
Yeah, the minutes are in there from June 23rd.
Oh,
They were
They did
scheduled for another meeting, but it was postponed.
That was postponed. Okay.
Yep.
Emergency Management Plan Committee.
Not met.
They're busy planning the emergency.
That's right. The current emergencies, right?
Zoom is working. It's all solved with Zoom.
Okay. Consider a motion to convene an executive session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.851C to discuss personnel and employee benefits, Wisconsin statutes 19.851E to deliberate and negotiate the purchase of public properties, investment of public funds, or conduct other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and Wisconsin statute 19.851G to confer with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering and/or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. Motion by Lino.
Second.
Roll call. Lino, yes.
Baker, yes.
Birdo, yes.
Karanko, yes.
Nino, yes.
Nate, did you say yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't hear it. Okay, we are now in closed session. Does anybody on need to drop?
Okay,
I'll make a motion to reconvene an open session. And we have a second. Lino, yes.
Baker, yes.
Birdo, yes.
Karanko, yes.
Nino, yes. I'm sorry.
All right, we're now back in open session. There was nothing to take action on. Anything matters to be placed on a future agenda referred to committee, official, or employee? I have one question that came up. We were talking about the sewer and water plant construction. Is that affecting the dog park use at all?
No.
Shouldn't be.
Nope.
Have you received the emails concerning dogs using the soccer field?
I've been out there. I've seen one or two people. I've had a conversation with one. The other person was walking their dog across the soccer field to cut to their house, walking downtown. I'm keeping an eye on it. I've been out there. I haven't seen any dog poop lying around on the soccer field since it's been brought to my attention. Now that I have a puppy, I've been at the dog park quite a bit, and I haven't really heard anybody complain about the noise over there.
Okay. All right. If nothing else, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.